If you're a new artist to the music industry, I have a few things that I'd like to talk to you about today. Consider this a beware list, just some things to keep in mind as you navigate forward in the music industry. My name is Nick Rollo. I'm a producer and a mixing engineer. I was once predominantly an artist. I still release music, but once upon a time, that was all I did. So a few of these things have happened to me and to people I know, and to be honest, it really pisses me off. So I just wanted to make a video to kind of address some of these things, hopefully to help you avoid them or to give you some kind of validation if it has happened to you before. So let's get into it. And as a disclaimer, I know that this is going to annoy some people, and this is just my opinion. If it annoys you, you might be one of the people who are the problem. So maybe take a look at yourself, or maybe you just disagree with me. Either way, just my opinion at the end of the day. A lot of this was inspired by some chats I had with a few artists that I work with, and it just got me thinking. I kind of just thought, maybe I should make a video about this. It's always worth kind of just talking about. So pretty much what I'm talking about is there's a lot of people in the music industry who are kind of predatory, and not in like the way that you might think initially. They're predatory in the sense that they are trying to take money from you. And to clarify, I don't think that there's anything wrong with somebody trying to take money from you if there is an equal value exchange. For instance, I charge money to produce and mix and to record vocals. I don't think I'm taking advantage of people because I'm providing value. At least that's what I tell myself. I could be wrong. By predatory, I mean that they're taking your money and then not providing the value that they are promising. And often they are promising a lot of value. When you release a new song and put it onto the new platforms like the Spotifys and Apple Musics, the SoundClouds, YouTubes, discovery platforms like Triple J here in Australia, sometimes you might get an email from a party like a blog, and they might say, "Hey, really like the new song, love to learn more about it." You respond and you're like, "Oh, that's nice, like here's some information." Then they hit you back with, "Hey, we'd love to do an article on you, would you be interested?" And a lot of new artists will say, "Oh, that's awesome, I'll get like exposure from this blog that has lots and lots and lots of followers." And then they will, talk back and forth, and the blog will inevitably say, "Hey, we just need you to pay X amount of money because like we have these costs," and you end up paying 50, 100, 150. And then they'll also say, "Hey, we have these bigger marketing packages that can promote your music more. It's only $500. I am thinking of a very particular blog in Australia that I'm not going to name. I might at some point because they suck. Don't fall for this. It's not going to get you anything. I don't know what exposure they get, but it is built out of smoke. There's nothing, to my knowledge anyway. I've never seen anybody be made from these platforms. Nobody has had a song on those platforms, those blogs, that has been the reason for their success. So if you get that email, if you get an email from a blog and they ask for your money, don't give it to them. Blogs are antiquated. No offense to blog owners. When was the last time you found new music from a blog? Ever? I don't know. The only thing that a blog might be good for, and again, I'm sorry if you run a blog, is impressing industry people. And to be honest, trying to impress industry people is that really the goal? I feel like the goal should be trying to impress people who are going to listen to your music, not trying to impress these mystical characters that may or may not give you a spot on a Spotify playlist. Like, it's hard to guarantee anything, and if that's why you're doing something, don't do that. In my opinion, anyway. I might be being a bit harsh, but the point is, if you do get approached by one of these blogs or these marketing parties that are like, "Hey, love your stuff, pay me," just think twice about it. Really look at why you're doing it. Having like a blog post might be really worth it if you're going to weaponize that for something else, utilize that for something else. But if you think that that is going to actually bring results, I would just be really skeptical myself. I'm sure blogs still have a place, but think about Spotify. Spotify's the monopoly. The only way to get discoverability is through algorithms and TikTok, and so I just don't know if you should pay money for a blog. On this note, there are also some marketing companies that will hit you up, or maybe you hit them up. They'll hit you back with exorbitantly priced packages, and again, just be skeptical of what they're doing. Like, they are pitching it for radio and Spotify playlists and blogs, but at the end of the day, it's like I've paid for a few, and whilst I've gotten blog reviews from them, I've got very little else. You can use blog reviews to sort of push other things forward, but just be careful. Like, they will charge so much money, thousands of dollars, and you're getting nothing from it aside from a few people typing about your song. I personally feel like you would just be so much better off putting your money towards a new song or to advertising, like straight up advertising, not through somebody else when you're paying them to write about your song. You could put an ad in front of like someone who's actually going to listen to your song. And radio pitching, I mean, they're doing it to like the major radio stations, but they're probably not going to play your music because they're playing Drake's and Dua Lipa's. They don't often play small artists who have absolutely nothing to show yet. Like if this is your first song and you've got no track record, it's super unlikely they're going to play it. And I'm sorry, I know it's kind of like, oh man, he's really being negative right now. I'm just like, that's just how it is. Save your money. You yourself can pitch for community radio stations. The theory is if you pitch enough community radio stations and they play it, then that will start to swell. That might then result in kind of mid-tier radio stations, which then might result in, the big ones that pay well and that give you exposure. But again, like you can do that and it's pretty easy to do. It just takes a few hours. So if someone's going to charge you $1,000 to do that, I would just, again, think about it. There's obviously a time and a place for using a marketing company. Just if they're approaching you, it's just worth considering why they're approaching you. If you approach them because they've got a great track record and people have worked with them, I think that's fine. But if they're approaching you and also charging tons of money, then just think about it. Somewhat linked to this as well is playlists, Spotify playlists. You can definitely pay for playlists, but well, one, I don't think you're allowed to. It's against Spotify's terms and conditions. But you just have to be careful because a lot of these playlists do not use humans. They're bots. And it's really hard to tell what playlists are human and what playlists are not, because all you can really see is the number of likes on the playlist. You can't see the activity. I think you can with third-party analytics, but it is really hard, and some of them will charge a lot. Pitching for playlists is great. You definitely should do it. Just be careful if they ask you to pay them. Maybe ask why. What are you using this money for? If they're saying to run ads to push the playlist, I think that's fine because, how do you promote a playlist? Makes sense. If they don't want to disclose that, well, I don't know. Maybe it's just a bit weird. Just make sure you're pitching for playlists that are really isolated to your genre. I've personally had playlists in the past take on some of my songs that have had just huge ranges of genres, and that has completely ruined my algorithms. Pretty sure I made a video about that in the past. Basically, it just completely screwed it for a year. All of my Discover Weekly, all of my radios, all of that just got absolutely tarnished. It's not worth it, in my opinion. Don't do it. If you're a pop artist, look for pop playlists and make sure the music in those playlists is pop music. And also, from personal experience, if you've got money, you might just be better off trying to build your own playlist and using Facebook ads to promote those playlists. I've done this in the past. I did it a while ago for my instrumental music, and I haven't been running playlists for a long time, but the playlists that I built still push streams for my music. And because of that, I get, Spotify Radio and Discover Weekly and stuff, and that's pushing a lot of streams. So think about, whether you want to be in control or you want to pay somebody else. And this kind of applies with the marketing companies and the blogs. It's like you can use that money, that thousands of dollars, and instead of paying it to someone in the industry who you don't know, you don't really know what they're going to do, it's like you can learn how to use that money to actually promote yourself. And that's such a longer term skill. And these skills, honestly, they're not even that hard to learn. They take a bit of practice, but they're not hard. Most people, I think, could do it if you watched enough videos. And my lord, there's a lot of videos on YouTube about Facebook ads. So I would just consider that. It's another thing that you've got to add to the massive pile of things to do, but I really do think it's worthwhile learning or thinking about at the very least. And a little add-on to the whole playlist thing, you will probably be better just spending time making content, trying to connect with listeners on a one-to-one level, making fans, one fan a day. Just try to get one fan a day. Doing that is a slow build. You won't get 1 million streams overnight. Over a long enough time frame, that will start to compound. It will start to churn. You'll be able to sell out shows. You'll be able to sell merch. You'll be able to put a song out and it gets a big hit immediately, not from playlists. I know paying to get on a playlist is super enticing, but those streams are, one, they're nothing, right? They don't mean anything aside from the money they bring in, which can be awesome, but they don't mean anything. It's literally just numbers. If your song gets put on a playlist and it gets 1 million streams, that's it. You get the money from those streams, but you don't build fans that will then, be with you forever. I know a fair few artists in the instrumental space and also just in the regular singing space. They have huge monthly listeners, but they have 300 followers on Spotify. Okay, that doesn't make sense. That's because it's playlists, and those people, the second your music's out of those playlists, is done. You're not getting any streams. So spend your time focusing on building fans rather than just like getting these superficial numbers. And it's hard. I've been there. It's really hard, but it's worth it. Think about your like music career in 5 years, not 5 months. Biggest gem is just every day try to get one new fan. Like that'll compound so quickly, because if you make your content aiming to just get one person to like love your music, trust me, it's going to hit more than one person. And if you put that care and attention to it, with time, that'll start like really just, that was a train kind of churning away, but yeah, it'll be worth it. And the last thing that I have to talk about for this little rant of a video is kind of close to home, I guess, but beware of producers, mixing engineers, recording engineers, songwriters, I guess. People on my side of the fence who are making the music or helping you make the music. Beware of their credits. One of the things that honestly pisses me off the most, like I hate it, it drives me insane, is the fact that people who were like the lightest bit involved with a project, you know, a producer might have said, oh man, turn up the snare, or maybe that's the mixing engineer, the recording engineer might have mic'd up a snare, and all of a sudden that big song that they were part of, barely part of, is on their website credit discography. Sure, you can use these things for your credits, but like you were barely involved in that song and all of a sudden you're charging $4,000 for that production or that mix or whatever because you were involved in this big song, but realistically like you weren't that involved. If you put it on your website, say what you did. I helped record a drum, like that's being transparent, and you know, maybe that snare tone was sick. But realistically speaking, if you, the artist, looks at this person's website and it's got this huge credit on it, you're just instantly swayed. You're thinking, wow, they must be like amazing, but that just might not be the case. So just be aware, try to figure out what role they were involved in with the songs that they're saying they were a part of, because oftentimes, and it happens a lot, it's just not quite true. Judge their work based on what they've been completely involved with, not just the like superstar records. This industry has a lot of smoke and mirrors. It's a lot of superficial fakeness, and I hate it for that. So just be careful is the main point of this video. If you're an artist, be careful. If you're a new artist especially, people are literally trying to take your money. And this feels like one of those videos that's like, oh, it's such a conspiracy theorist. But like, I swear to God, people are trying to take your money in this industry. So be careful. Use your money for things that are actually valuable, like making new music or promoting yourself as like an asset to get more fans. Don't pay other people for things that are going to disappear. Yeah, this was like a longish video and kind of intense, but I think it was a worthwhile one because yeah, honestly, I just want you guys to be careful and take care of your monies. It sucks that I feel like I have to make these kind of videos, but the fact that I have conversations with people about this, with artists, with producers, with just people in the industry, that I have to have these conversations just sucks. And the fact that I do have these conversations makes me think that I should probably make a video about it to help more people understand. Oh, I feel kind of shaky after this. Anyway, I hope you found this helpful and insightful. And if you did, hit like, hit subscribe. If you ever happen to need a mixing engineer or a producer, you can go check my website. All of the work there is work that I've actually done as a producer or a mixing engineer. So fear not, but no stress either way. I'll catch you next video. Bye bye.